Severance fans, Silo fans, rejoice. I come with good news by way of an interview with Rebecca Ferguson in a new Apple TV Plus trailer that just dropped a few days ago. So it's a teaser trailer, not a whole lot there, so we won't be doing the usual deep dive, but we'll at least be dipping our toe into the shallow end of the pool. Now, I recut this trailer, leaving behind only the parts we're concerned with. It's not very long, so we'll just watch it and we'll discuss it on the other end.
Welcome back. Been a minute.
So now, yeah, we finally get a peek at what appears to be some footage from season 2, and it stars Mark Scout and Mr. Milchick. I think it's a perfect teaser because it creates some questions, but only hints at some answers to previous questions. Now, after taking a quick look at the screenshots, we get a scene where Mark is entering an elevator to the severed floor while putting on his lanyard. Security guard is standing right behind him as he gets into the elevator. But the thing that stands out the most in this scene to me is the look on Mark's face. His expression is so intense. He looks like he's prepared to do something nervy. Like he almost looks like he's a man on a mission. And I think we can guess what that mission is. Now, the next scene is Milchick, of course, and he's holding a bunch of blue balloons with Mark's face on them. I think we can assume this is the severed floor because it's Milchick after all, and based on what he says, haven't seen you in a minute, it seems like Mark has spent some time away between the events of last season and season 2. This scene actually reminds me a lot of the Milchick and Helly scene where he gives her the flowers after she gets off the elevator. I think this is like her second day at the job. So Mark doesn't come back to the severed floor for some time. We know that Cobell blew their whole operation up in the season 1 finale. So the jig was up. MDR got caught and probably punished in some way. If Mark is walking back onto the severed floor after some time, does this mean MDR was wiped, reset? Maybe they were severed again. The teaser might be telling us. Now, the nuttiest part of this trailer is the part where Mark is waking up on the conference room table, but the visuals keep shifting, making him appear to be going back and forth between his work clothes and his outie clothes. This is suggesting that his outie and his innie are both present. They're trying to tell us that the boundaries between Mark's inner and outer lives are bleeding into one another. So is this scene saying that Mark's outie is also present on the severed floor? In other words, could this sequence be hinting at reintegration? Maybe Mark got some help with Ragabi in the off season and he chose to come back and gather evidence and save Gemma. I think that's a pretty good guess. Now, we also get shots of Mark in the operating chair, but he also doesn't exactly look pleased with the idea of going through the procedure again, meaning that maybe there was some arm twisting involved. Mark could have been threatened in some way because of what he knows. Or what I think is most likely is he's going back in for Gemma. It's much more convenient to the script, and I think we would expect a guy like Mark to do this. Now, I can imagine Mark trying to get back in by conceding to whatever Lumen asks, just to get another shot at saving Gemma from Lumen's clutches. The sequence that follows this one is the one where Mark is wigging out in the hallway. This reminds me of the manic style that they used for PD's hallucination scenes, where he's jumping back and forth, the camera is shifting back and forth so quickly. This is done in almost exactly the same way, which makes me think that this is another sign that he is reintegrated. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm reading it as right now. We have the mixing of two memories, two experiences twisted into each other, resulting in a thoroughly confusing experience for the reintegrated person. Mark may be tripping just like PD did when he got reintegrated. Now, there is also a small chance that this scene is from his initial Severance experience, meaning before season 1. Not impossible, but I think it's less likely. If the writers plan to tell more backstory on these characters, I do think that going into the circumstances of Mark's severance would be an interesting way to take things. I must mention the possibility that this could also be just some kind of trippy dream that Mark is having. But I'm still putting my money on the first guess about a reintegrated Mark returning, specifically because of Milchick's line. So is Mark back with a plan? Is he the only one, or did others follow suit? I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out. Just waiting for season 2 is driving me crazy.
That will set you free.
We are not finished. We will safely leave the silo!
Silo fans, no need to worry because Apple TV Plus hit us with a little something also. Now, sure, it's only 8 seconds of teaser, but there are 2 things that really stood out to me in this trailer. The first of which I think is pretty obvious. Bernard decides to shout out something about "we will safely leave the silo" while addressing the citizens who appear to enthusiastically cheer in agreement. Now, this one is a shocker for me. Now, we can try to guess how this came about, and the answer is probably Juliet's successful escape from the silo. Probably probably prompted a renewed interest in leaving for the rest of the Siloans. However, I am almost certain it won't be that simple. If Bernard truly is a small cog in a big machine, if he's truly ignorant about the outside world as some believe him to be, this could be a genuine reaction. But knowing Bernard, I'm betting there are some shenanigans afoot. The other shot that stands out to me is the one of Juliet's old co-workers in the lowers. It's the clothing in particular. They seem like they're outfitted for combat because I don't recall them ever looking so armored up for work. We see a shot of Shirley here. She's holding up some hunk of metal she's fashioned into a mace. So what could have happened here? Was Bernard's announcement somehow tied to the threat of another uprising? Are we gonna see a Great Rebellion 2.0? Did the citizens demand the doors be unlocked after seeing Jules ride off into the sunset, sans excruciating death? The only other shot we get that's kind of interesting is Sims staring into the camera, apparently feeling apprehensive about whatever it is that he's eyeballing here. All I can say is this room looks pretty swank by comparison to the rest of the silo, so I wonder where he is. Maybe he's in an area that Bernard's given him access to, someplace previously kept secret from him. My best guess. But more on that interview with Rebecca Ferguson. According to her, there's also confirmation that we should expect some substantial changes from the books in terms of story. All this, of course, is with the blessing of the original author, Hugh Lowy. This is part of why I'm choosing to wait for the series to be over before I read the books. I'd rather not have any expectations or comparisons to think about, and I can just be along for the ride. I can be just as surprised as everyone else. According to Ferguson, Silo will be 4 seasons long. The first season that we've seen already only covers about half of the first book. We got a long way to go, people. Anyway, I am interested to hear your thoughts. These teasers were sorely needed, but now my appetite is building for a full-length trailer from both of these shows. I'll be using these shorter, simpler formats for news and updates because it's much faster than my usual work. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you already know what to do. Yeah, and let me know what you think about these teasers and what do you think's going on here. I'm very interested to hear what the rest of the tinfoilers have to say. Anyway, that's it for now. Remember to always be good to yourself. Look out for others. Until next time, off you go.